All right, so we have the Black Boss once again taking on the one and only AnnieDesu for round 8. So this is one heck of a matchup here. We're going to see who's able to take it home, and the winner of this will basically make top cut, and the loser is going to be OUTSKIES. So we'll see who is able to advance here. Round 8, Duels of Runeterra 16, AnnieDesu versus Black Boss.
This deck out of Black Boss, we had mentioned that the Relentless Pursuit is the only nopifiable card, but there are, two nopify in the main of AnnieDesu, so I don't think this Relentless Pursuit ever gets to resolve. And that is a big tool for Demacia in trying to out-aggro some of these decks. The Sharp Sight really doesn't matter. We talk a lot about how Demacia runs into a lot of issues trying to pop the barrier on the Lee Sin, and especially popping Spell Shield, nigh impossible. Hired Gun does come out here. I don't think you're really going to have a good shot at killing a Lee Sin in combat, especially just with the units available in this deck. So it really is going to be on Boss to try and run out as many 1-drops as possible. I think the Misfortune on 3 goes a long way in winning this matchup, but if that doesn't happen, it's going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah, Sharp Sight apparently doesn't even matter versus the Elusive matchup. We saw Black Boss actually play Pat, as we were just talking about earlier, and Sharp Sight seemed like, alongside Hired Guns in the side deck and a couple other things, seemed like it would do well versus an Elusive matchup because, the card gives, units reach, like Boulevard said, reach allowing, a unit to block an Elusive attacker, and it basically didn't even make a difference. It was just, I think we did see it used too. It's not like he didn't draw it, so.
He drew multiple copies of it too.
Yeah, multiple copies. So we'll see if that does make a difference in this matchup. But we got Lee Sin. We got Black Boss here with the Misfortune Shyvana, and I would be interested to see if Misfortune Shyvana is able to make top cut here, because this is definitely a different deck from what most people decided to bring today.
And that's what we expect out of Black Boss. The time that he did win a tournament, or at least the last time he had that, what was it, Fiora Leona in his lineup?
I believe. Oh, yes, actually, yeah, yep, 100%.
So Boss has really been sort of one of the experimental Demacia players as of late, just not running sort of the Shen Fiora that you would expect, not running traditional Bannerman lists either. It's actually been quite some time, I think, since we've seen a Vanguard Bannerman.
What's that card do? Is that a good card? Is that?
What I'm hearing out of USGW is that it's time we revert the nerfs, turn him back into a 4/4.
Whoa. No, he's perfectly balanced. I still think Bannerman's gonna see some
as all
play.
things should be.
Yeah.
So we had mentioned the aggressive nature that Boss was going to have to get out this turn, and so far, I mean, double Jagged Butcher. That's a real good start. If we see the MF come out here, we could just see it immediately die to the GOAT in combination with the Sonic Wave. Sonic Wave, a card that I really like in the Zed matchup, just because you do get to get that quick attack challenger, which is something that's really good. It's weird because you don't always think of quick attack as a protective keyword, similar to you do barrier, but that is how it functions on challengers more often than not.
Yeah, it's exactly why Diana is so good in aggro matchups, right? Being able to get that initial drop on the Diana with that challenger and quick attack. And in the Lee Sin version, it literally only happens one time because you're never going to level her up generally. And so I got to agree with you. Having that challenger card is definitely going to help out in the Sonic Wave. And looks like we are already going to get some use out of it with the GOAT here, pulling in the Misfortune, which I do like this. I'm not going to lie. It looks like he's considering forcing a trade with the Eye of the Dragon, because if Black Boss allows this Eye of the Dragon to just go in for the attack, there will be a Dragon Lane that comes out. So I'm curious to see if Andy does go for this. It's basically just, do I save the 1 spell mana? What am I going to use that for? I think that, I don't know, I would go for it, because you're really not saving 1 spell mana for anything next turn.
I think it's more, do you actually want to lose the Eye of the Dragon?
Yeah, it looks like he is going to value saving that Eye of the Dragon, not going to potentially offer up that trade. But this will still get the token, so it looks like he is going to go ahead and play the Resonating Strike. Ooh, that's interesting. Do you play the... I think you play the Resonating Strike while you have it, right? I mean, I feel like the gem is valuable.
The gem is valuable. The Resonating Strike is sort of a spell that you wouldn't have otherwise that is going to pair into the Lee Sin level up. I think... Oh, and a second Eye of the Dragon. That is So
That's
Boss
good.
loses his misfortune immediately, but finds another one.
Wow.
And this does give us the potential to kill this Eye of the Dragon unless we open with a Zenith Blade down onto it.
Yeah, which also means that the Zenith Blade would then trade with this misfortune, and allow the Eye of the Dragon to live. And you still, like, this is great. You play Zenith Blade on Eye of the Dragon, you trade with the misfortune, and then you can gem the Eye of the Dragon to, heal it up a little bit. And with that gem, it's gonna generate another Dragonling. So that seems like a pretty good line. But it looks like Annie, considering the Lee Sin would just straight up trade with the misfortune if that's the route he wants to go with the blocks. I don't see why you don't play the Zenith Blade here, though.
I definitely don't love the Lee Sin line. If this does come down, I think the way that this turn plays out does end with AnnieDesu down to 11 life. I am a little curious if Boss is going to pull the Dragonling or the Eye of the Dragon. The Eye of the Dragon is kind of what I expected, and now we get to block with the Dragonling. I don't think you offer up the Lee Sin to a Jagged Butcher, and this does mean, like I had mentioned, AnnieDesu is going down to 11.
Yeah, I'm not crazy with that line. AnnieDesu looks like just valuing getting the Lee Sin down. Obviously, with BlackBoss on 1 mana, that is a pretty safe turn to get the Lee Sin down. BlackBoss doesn't have the most resources in the world, so this might work out okay for Annie. Maybe knowing that he has the other Eye of the Dragon in hand, he feels a little comfortable going a little bit lower, knows that we can protect the second Eye of the Dragon, get these Dragonlings online. So we'll see if that's the route that we take here.
Oh.
Okay, not Zenith Blade.
So what I wanted to see was Zenith Blade into Eye of the Dragon, into a gem.
Yep.
Get us a, 5 attack overwhelm Lee Sin with barrier, kill the misfortune, who now we are going to have an opportunity to play the barrier down onto. Would have had that opportunity anyway if you had opened with the Zenith Blade, but yeah, I was a little surprised not to see that card come out. There's not really a clean way that I love to try and get the barrier down onto the Lee Sin otherwise, and I think that you do eventually want to Zenith Blade it. As you had mentioned, I don't think you really care about floating the spell mana into the next turn because Zenith Blade is the largest mana commitment in your hand.
Yeah, now this just ends up being a super awkward turn for AnnieDesu now because you don't really want to use 2 spells in hand. I imagine, like, we could get the Behold the Infinite here. Yep, it looks like we will for the barrier. And this just feels like a suboptimal use of 2 spells and trading a unit. Like you mentioned, the barrier coming down to misfortune. I mean, that's actually really big for BlackBoss. He saves his misfortune. It will be there for another open attack, which means, it does still trade with the Lee Sin for the time being. We do see the Pale Cascade. So at the very least, that's big for the hired gun as well. Wow.
He does have the capabilities to save it. He does have this Pale Cascade to buff it up just outside of the range of actually dying to one of these units.
Yep.
Karma pickup from Annie. It's really nothing. It does, potentially make him want to save this Pale Cascade, but I don't think he's going to get the opportunity. We are just going to get the open attack out of Boss.
Yeah, and this misfortune's so big against Lee Sin. So she actually does a lot of work because her effect, most of the time, will be able to pop that barrier bubble on the side of AnnieDesu's Lee Sin if Annie does decide to respond with 2 spells, something like Sonic Wave into Pale Cascade, or even Sonic Wave into just the additional spell afterwards. So I don't know. We'll see how Annie decides to play this. Obviously, we're going to see some sort of protective spell come out because we do not want to lose this Lee Sin right now.
So Boss is holding back the misfortune, and this is playing respectfully of the Pale Cascade onto the Eye of the Dragon, or even the Dragonling itself to actually trade with the misfortune. So going to be able to hang on to that one for another turn. Things not going to work out phenomenally for him. It looks like
pretty good.
When everything is said and done, Annie's going to end off higher than he started by a pretty wide margin with this Resonating Strike coming down onto the Dragonling.
The problem is, I feel like there's a high probability BlackBoss has something to kill this Lee Sin after the fact. I mean,
like what?
I don't know. Actually, oh wait, never mind. I don't know why I'm thinking BlackBoss is playing Make It Rain, but no, never mind.
I mean, if there's a third misfortune in hand, that is a Make It Rain.
Okay, yeah, and it looks like
Relentless Pursuit will do it as well. But there's no mana for the Crescent Strike on the side of AnnieDesu.
Wow, yeah, so this is going to turn out to be a pretty big turn. Oh, wow. That is huge by BlackBoss. And, all right, so do you pull the Lee Sin here? Or do you...
you pull it with the hired gun. It's still got vulnerable.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking you needed to pull it with the Screeching Dragon, but yeah.
Or yeah, pull it with the Misfortune. Yep. Push a little bit more damage. Your opponent's at 0 mana. Wow. There's nothing they can do.
And yeah, totally okay trading the higher gun. This is huge for BlackBoss. That is an amazing turn with that Relentless Pursuit.
That Misfortune is 1 away from leveling.
Yep, and we know what that means. We know what a leveled Misfortune means, and it is usually a W on the side of the leveled Misfortune player.
Second Karma is really not what Annie was looking for here.
Nope.
Show me Relentless Pursuit number 2.
And
Shyvana.
All right. And, yeah, that's not good. Yep, there's the Shen emote. And it's looking like BlackBoss going to take this one home with a very, very aggressive first few turns here.
Skies Descend is the randomly generated spell from the Karma. I couldn't make a worse one if I tried. And this is looking like lethal with the Misfortune level up.
See, we always think of the lower end spells and what would be the worst possible grab. Is the Skies Descend actually the worst card you could grab?
It has its uses because you do play Celestials. You can get it to 13 mana. But yeah, in a situation like this where you don't have control of the board, it is really, really bad.
Whoa. We got Dragonlings, all right? We have Dragonlings.
That is true. Those do count as dragons. You don't have any now, though.
No, so it's definitely not going to... Jesus. Talk about Karma.
Cascade on the Karma just to get the draw off.
So, what...
Does he still die here?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
No,
he's at 2. Okay.
He's chilling. He's big chilling.
We're fine. Everything is okay. We're gonna be fine.
Is it, though?
It's not.
We really need to deny for this Misfortune ability, and even then, the Shyvana is going to level and start generating those Shyvana striking spells whose name is escaping me. And that's going to be able to start picking off a little bit of the board. It is really weird, the generation effect for that, though. You do have to, you have to attack in order to get it.
Strafing Strike.
Strafing Strike, thank you. So Hired Gun going to go down onto the Karma, who once again just going to get cleaned up by a Misfortune ability. And he has nothing.
We were talking yesterday about this whole Karma Lee Sin version, and is it good? I don't know. I'm not super impressed with it. Losing. I mean, look at the Misfortune Shyvana deck that BlackBoss is playing. It seems to be one of the more lower performing decks of the day. It's losing pretty. I mean, this is a large margin for losing the game right here. This is like a big swing. That Relentless Pursuit turn just completely blew out AnnieDesu after losing that Lee Sin. I feel like if you can't keep your Lee Sin, I mean, I guess that's any Lee Sin deck though, right? If you just lose your Lee Sin that early, regardless of whether or not you're playing Karma, are you just losing the game at that point?
More or less, especially against a more aggressive deck.
I mean, I think maybe that's the case then, and not so much that it is the Karma. I'm very curious to see if a Karma type of Lee Sin deck does come out. It's very similar, I guess, to like a Karma Ezreal deck where you are just trying to combo off in one turn, rip Ezreal. But these Hushes are not gonna quite save AnnieDesu here, and it does look like the leveled Misfortune, as per usual, to date. Boulevard, one game we've seen where a leveled Misfortune has lost the game, but this is not it.
Nope. And that is what we were talking about. If the boss could get the early Misfortune online, we thought he was, in a bit of trouble when he lost the first one, but had the second one. And as long as your opponent is playing a deck with a strong backline champion like Misfortune, like Twisted Fate, you cannot afford to lose that Lee Sin. And it's really weird because sometimes you have to put yourselves in situations where you have to offer up the Lee Sin as a trade for your opponent's backline unit. And those are some of the most difficult games of Legends of Runeterra you're going to run into with this deck where, you're like, okay, I really can't get barrier onto my Lee Sin, but I do need to throw it at this Twisted Fate before that levels and starts to take over the game, because from there, the gold cards are going to start coming out, or like, oh, this Misfortune, it levels if he has Relentless Pursuit. Do I risk my Lee Sin dying to go ahead and try to take that out? And it's a very difficult decision to be made, but these strong backline units have been the weakness of the Lee Sin deck, as long as either A, the Lee Sin player just doesn't draw it, or B, you can actually end up killing it online early, which is something that the Misfortune does very effectively. That, I don't even know the name of the ability that she has. That's a problem we've been running into. Like, I know that Anivia's Glacial Storm now. I'm never going to forget that one. I know that it's Love Tap when it's leveled, but I don't know if it's Love
Bullet
Tap.
Time. Bullet Time is when it's leveled.
There we go.
And then Love Tap is the deal 1.
Okay, so I was actually right. It is Love Tap. Yeah, just that getting through the barrier of the Lee Sin makes this deck play so much worse on defense.
Bullet Time. I actually didn't even Yeah, that's a good point. It's like I wonder now. Oh man, are we at that next level now where like we know the card names? Now we have to remember every single skill of everything.
We're turning into real casters.
Oh my god, what is happening?
We're getting that extra level of validation on top of us.
Bet you guys didn't know that her leveled up skill was called Bullet Time, because I did. Yeah.
I mean, they probably did because
Yeah,
it's
they
the name
probably
of the ultimate in League of Legends.
So we just assuming everybody that plays Runeterra plays League of Legends now? Is that what we're doing? Huh?
I mean, no, because we actually did have someone in chat yesterday. It was like, I think someone was like explaining how the champions functioned in League of Legends, and the person's like, I don't play League of Legends. I don't care.
Like, what is that game? Get it out of my face. And it's honestly, it's probably better you don't play that game. Trust me.
So let's talk about Stony Suppressor that BlackBoss has in the side deck.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. What do you got on this card? Because I actually like this card a lot.
I like it a lot. I think that it is a phenomenal side deck tool. I'm actually really surprised that Annie kept double Nopa. Did we see him mull nothing? Because it looked to me like he kept double Nopify against BlackBoss, who, as we had mentioned, Relentless Pursuit, the only Nopifiable target, only side decks in single combat as an additional Nopify hit.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I don't think this is the matchup where you're siding single combat.
I think he considered, because there is one star shaping in the main deck. I think he considered putting in the additional star shaping in the side. There is also Spirit's Refuge, which might be a thing, just to, for additional lifesteal, but I'm not sure. There's also Concussive Palm, Tasty Fey Folk.
I actually really like Tasty Fey Folk Astral Projection. I had mentioned Blessed Vigor or Sunlit Vigor, whichever one it is, that permanent +2 health for something like the Fey Folk, but the Astral Projection actually does a phenomenal job for that as well, turning it into a permanent 4/6 with lifesteal, and that is not something that an aggro deck is going to get off the board easily. Nope. But we do see the Stony Suppressor opener for BlackBoss, and with no Lee Sin, Annie doesn't have a clean way to kill this.
No, so Stony Suppressor is one of those cards, and I feel like I'm a broken record when I say this about different regions or just the game in general. Stony Suppressor is one of those cards that really fits the region Demasia's identity, and that's why I love it so much. It promotes you running less spells in your deck when, in all reality, I mean, yeah, you're playing Demacia, you probably just want Relentless Pursuit and call it a day, and you just attack a bunch. And that's what Stony Suppressor is good for. It just goes all in and doubles down on that strategy of not playing as many spells as your opponent does. So we'll see if Stony Suppressor is able to get some value here in the matchup. We already see 2 gems in hand that are not nearly as useful at 2 mana.
No, they are certainly not, but Lee Sin not going to be able to gain Challenger this turn, so the Stony Suppressor is going to stick around a little while longer, and that's going to make it harder for Boss to protect the Lee Sin. If we do see something like a Misfortune come down here, or a Brightsteel Protector, that's going to push a little bit of damage back onto the Lee Sin, and I think that Boss actually has a pretty good shot at being able to kill this champion.
Yeah, and actually offering up the Stony Suppressor as a blocker too, probably knows if it does die, it's going to get challenged out by the Lee Sin at some point, so might as well try to get some value at some point out of it. So I do like that block. And more 2-cost gems rolling into the hand, and here's the Crusty Codger we were talking about. I'm honestly very impressed with this card. I know, like, I keep hyping it up throughout the day, but this card, I just saw Soraka and, the Star Spring, and I'm just like, okay, that's what this card is for. And then, yeah, you can combo it with Swain or Valadimir or something. But in aggro decks, this card is doing work.
I never thought I'd see someone so hyped about a 1-mana 2/2.
I know. Like, I didn't think...
Sorry, a 1-mana vanilla 2/2.
Yeah, I never thought I would be so hyped about a 1-mana 2/2. But I think it's just... You know what it is? And we were talking about how Bilgewater seems a little bit overpowered as a region. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why this is so good, right? You have Jagged Butcher already. You have Crusty Codger. You also have Fleet Feather Tracker, specifically in Demacia. So when you're able to get that third solid 2/2, I think it just ends up being really, really good. And all right, so would you just end up siding Cithria as opposed to the Crusty Codger?
Yeah, I mean, the elite tag doesn't mean anything, so
it just doesn't matter, really.
It really doesn't. Which art do you like more?
Or well, on the technicality side, technically you have the chance of healing the Crusty Codger, so it
technically you
don't. Listen, all right, this isn't quite Hearthstone yet, so I don't know how you get a random heal in hand. But
I mean, I'm looking at Boss's deck list, and I can tell you that you don't.
Yeah, you don't. So
unless you can turn the Conjure into a dragon so that the Shyvana single combat ends up healing it for 2 after it kills a 1 health unit, but that seems more out
Cythria.
there than anything else.
Cythria the Bold.
Oh yeah,
And Genevieve.
Yeah.
They actually
I think we had mentioned this yesterday about how buffing up the Conjure gives it permanent health, and then we just kind of threw that out the window for today. The problem that I do have with the Conjure though is that boss, he's got his foot on the gas, but I feel like his brakes are gonna get cut pretty soon here.
Yeah, I tend to agree. This Lee Sin actually getting value as a blocker, it doesn't feel great because you're putting a lot of damage onto the Lee Sin, but you're not really worried against something like BlackBoss's deck, right? Like, you're not going to have any direct damage coming out. Best case scenario for BlackBoss, we have another hired gun or something to go ahead and pull that Lee Sin. So I think I'm okay with these blocks. You just got to do what you got to do, and we'll see if BlackBoss has enough aggression in the last 2 cards in hand to actually keep this up. And I got to agree with you. I think the answer is no. I mean, even if there is something like a Cythria coming out on this turn, or a Screeching Dragon coming out this turn, it's going to be an uphill climb for BlackBoss, I think.
Yeah, I think he's got to throw down 2 gems onto this Lee Sin here, or maybe even just 1. Take out the Stony Suppressor, see where that takes us.
Oh, looks like...
I think you do want the 2, just in case. There are riposts in Boss's side deck. I don't know if he put them in, but actually, no. We're just going to say, I want to take out the Shyvana. I don't care about this Stony Suppressor. I mean, he is going to be able to get down Eye of the Dragon, get a Dragonling for the following turn, just play a little bit better on defense. And unless we see specifically Cythria the Bold, which we do, so Boss does feel a little bit back in this game.
Yeah, and I like this from Annie, too, because I think Annie recognizing, okay, I don't really care about the tempo loss from this Stony Suppressor right now because he's seeing that BlackBoss is kind of running out of fuel. And if that's the case, he can slow play this. He can go ahead and pick off the Shyvana. He can pick and choose what he wants to do for the time being. The Cythria definitely helps BlackBoss, like you said. So we'll see if we get something else summoned. We'll see if we get an open attack. Will of Ionia could be a thing here.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is not a great open attack for Boss. You get to push through 6 damage and have your Dragon... Yeah, I think you only push 4 damage on an open attack because you can't go in with the Stony Suppressor. So Boss is going to want to develop here, and that will, get this Will of Ionia a lot of value. If Boss has a 1-drop to open with, he's in a much better position, but you're still this Dragonling blocking the Cythria, really not doing you any favors.
Yeah, he really needs something like a 1-drop into a okay.
Okay, you know what? Second Cythria.
That works.
End the game on any other day. So the Will of Ionia going to be forced to come out here. The gem is going to come out to start things off, potentially, as that is the only other spell we can play with this Will of Ionia in the turn.
Yeah. And that makes sense. Obviously recognizing if people watching don't know how gems work, you cannot play it in combat, so we do need to play it now so that this Dragonling is up to 3 attack to be a fearsome blocker for the eventual Cythria attack here. But that Will of Ionia, man, whoever thought we'd see a 6-mana Will of Ionia? Used to be 4. What is this world coming to?
And this is just going to turn off the entire attack turn for Boss, I would think. No, still going to go in for it. I think if you go in for this, what happens is you lose your Cythria, you lose a 3/3 to the Dragonling, and you push 0 net damage and lose some significant threats. But now we are going to get to see 2 spells come out, kill the Cythria. Cythria number 2 comes back down, and then Boss is still in the same mediocre position that he was previously.
Well, Boss could be in a pretty good spot for an open attack on this next turn. If he can, I don't think there's a way that BlackBoss can save this Cythria from being challenged, though, is the problem.
No.
So if that's the case, we're only going to have, we're going to have that other Cythria come down. And my thought is, how much work is this Stony Suppressor doing? I understand the reason for side decking it in. I understand the thought process and what it does against Lee Sin, because it is doing its job. It's 100% doing its job right now very well. We've gotten a lot of 2-mana gems used on the side of AnnieDesu, but I don't know if that tempo loss in mana is actually worth that unit. Or is this just such a one-sided matchup for Lee Sin that it doesn't actually matter?
I think the Stony Suppressor is doing a lot of work. I think the problem is that Boss is overloaded on 1-drops, and this is a hand that AnnieDesu has that's going to pair into that pretty well, having the double Eye of the Dragon. The Will of Ionia came in real... I mean, if the Will of Ionia wasn't there for AnnieDesu, the game might have just ended last turn.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, having 2 Cythria's attack, that would have forced the block on the Lee Sin. It would have pushed through a lot of damage. So we'll see if BlackBoss is able to top deck something big here. Another Eye of the Dragon is actually not a good draw for AnnieDesu. Way too big of a field right now.
So Lee Sin is vulnerable on this turn. We only have one spell that we can play at fast speed.
That is big.
And I'm actually a little surprised that Annie didn't go for the Spacey Sketcher. If he had gotten a Moonsilver, he would have been able to give the Lee barrier this turn.
Well, it does level up the Lee Sin. But that Genevieve.
Actually, no. This is disastrous for BlackBoss. The Cosmic Rays is going to come down. Why can he not?
Oh,
he doesn't
because he doesn't behold a
Celestial.
Oh, did he miss? He misplayed. He snap picked it because he's
when he
like,
snap picked
it.
I think I've been looking at this Spacey Sketcher like it's a Celestial. Never mind. That is what we.
It's not.
So I think you have to play the Spacey Sketcher here and hope for Moonsilver.
This feels so bad. Oh, this
all right.
feels so
If
bad.
it's Moonsilver, it means a lot.
Yeah, we need a spell. And
we need specifically a burst speed spell.
here we go. Oh,
no spells offered up to him.
Oh man, this is terrible.
But now you want to ask, you want to know what that Stony Suppressor's doing?
Yeah.
SJW, look at this. The Scout attack comes in.
Yeah.
Cosmic Rays comes back on the clapback. No, it doesn't. It's 9 mana.
And now everything is fearsome. And Annie doesn't have anything he can do to save this Lee Sin as long as BlackBoss doesn't play a spell, which I can't imagine BlackBoss is going to play a spell. That would be pretty crazy. But none of these units can block. Except, one of them will block the Cithria. So I imagine we'll have a Dragonling block the Cithria. But that means we're getting 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage coming through. Going to put AnnieDesu down to 6. And all right, he can play the Cosmic Rays now. So now there's a Celestial in hand.
Hooray.
So we can play that potentially. Wait. Oh, that was just the Scout attack. Okay.
Well, actually, we can also get down this Trickster if we want to, but it looks like that's not going to be the case. We don't want to offer that up as something on the board because we do need to hold on to that in order for the Cosmic Rays to go off.
And actually, it'll be less damage because of the heal, so won't quite go down that far. We actually are going to end at 8 health. And let's see if this Cosmic Rays is going to be a thing. And
I mean, I assume it is. And Karma off the top as well.
That's a thing too, though.
I don't think you. I was about to say, I don't think you get to play the Karma this turn. I do think you need to get this Cosmic Rays down. Look at that, a 2/4. We did it, SJW.
Hey, see, this is exactly what. All right, we have proven why Krusty Codger is better than the smaller Cithria, not Cithria the Bull, the 1-mana 2/2
of Cloudfield.
Of Cloudfield, and wow, I can't believe that actually happened.
All right, there is a Screeching Dragon. Still not lethal on the side of boss, though. There's lethal on the side of boss. Well, actually, still no. We do have an elusive or a fearsome blocker rather in this Trickster, so we'll have to see what comes out of boss on the following turn. Yeah,
this is still. I mean, so Annie does have a Karma that would be leveled once it comes down. So there's a lot of I say that now, but let me look at the list. We do still have, I think, a concussive
Star
palm.
Shaping's sort of the big one in terms of what you want to get the turn that you play this Karma.
Guiding Touch. It's another good one. That actually gets you 2 draw.
Oh, the Sharp Sight!
Wow.
And Desu, and that's gonna be lethal now.
So actually, technically, and I can see why AnnieDesu went for that. Technically, AnnieDesu shouldn't have went for that attack, knowing that there's Sharp Sight.
So Sharp Sight actually would have been lethal on the following turn anyway, because it would turn. Or no, I think it actually would have only turned a dragon into a 7/7, so it wouldn't have been lethal. But
wow,
I mean, yeah, that should have been a pretty safe attack. But no, BlackBoss made Sharp Sight.
Wow. Yeah, crazy. So now, just a lesson to everybody: you do have to be concerned about attacking with your elusive units into Sharp Sight. All right, BlackBoss. He's going to be the one making it into the top cut, the top 16, and that is what the next video is going to be. So don't forget to subscribe, turn on that bell to get notified when that tournament footage does go live. And as always, everybody, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you. Peace out.